With an Olympic medal and an undefeated record, Joshua Buatsi ranks among the world's best boxers. Fighting as a light heavyweight, Buatsi won bronze for Great Britain at the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro. Since he turned professional a year later, it's been one victory after another. 17 straight wins, 13 of them via knockout. That record makes Buatsi one of the toughest fighters around. Outside the ring, he's also one of the more unusual. Where boxers are typically known for their showmanship and bravado, Buatsi is an understated character. In the words of a former promoter, he's the nicest, most dangerous man you can meet.
They speak about me outside the ring in terms of he's a nice guy, he's polite. It's just when I get in the ring, there's no time to be nice. My coach always says to me, nice guys finish last.
As the prize money has rolled in, Buatsi has been giving back to the communities that raised him. In London, where he first learned to box, he has sponsored programs to steer young people away from knife crime.
Hey, Calvin, give me one.
And last year, he set up the Joshua Buatsi Foundation, which funds an orphanage and a boxing gym in Ghana, the land of his birth. So, in the bruising world of elite boxing, can you really be a nice guy and finish first? Welcome to Generation Sport. I'm Iman Amrani, and I've come here to Croydon in South London to meet Olympic medal-winning boxer Joshua Buatsi. I've come to speak to him about his famed humility, the dangers that go hand in hand with his sport, and how boxing can be a tool of empowerment for young people around the world. So Joshua, thank you for coming to speak to me on Generation Sport. We're here in Croydon, which is where you came to live as a young kid from Ghana. What was it like growing up? Was it different to how it is now?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. It's changed a lot. Hopefully for the better, from what I can see.
What's it like walking down here, aged 30, and having done the things you've done the past 10 years?
I'm nervous, but it's different. Like, I'm walking around here as an adult now, whereas back in the days, I was running about, doing all kinds of stuff, not walking through the main bit, because if you're through here and you've got a problem with somebody, you're going to get spotted, and you have to handle what you have to handle. So, yeah, it's very different walking down here, but yeah, it's nice, man.
And there are a lot of talented artists or sports people that have come out of Croydon.
Yep.
What do you think it is about Croydon that has created so much talent?
Man, I think what we go through, you know, there's so many things to experience, so many cultures. I do think Croydon is the capital of London. We're the biggest borough, and I think...
That is controversial.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent here, man, and it speaks for itself.
And were there specific boxing gyms around here where you got into boxing and where you became good?
Yeah, there was a gym that my best friend actually opened down the road from here, and I always thank him because he helped me to identify something that I was good at. There's so many things that we all do, but my best friend was the one that actually said, you know what, just try boxing, see what you think of it, and here we are 15 years down the line, so I'm always thankful for that.
What is it that boxing has brought into your life that you wouldn't have if you hadn't become a boxer?
I can now say something, and because I've been successful in boxing, someone might listen to me. I'll say that's what's given me a little platform to say, look, do this, do that, and you can make it. And people will listen, or they can say, you know what, he came from Croydon, a place like this, an area like this, and he made something of himself, so it's possible for them too.
You grew up, well, for the first few years of your life in Ghana before you came to live in the UK. You've represented the United Kingdom in the Olympics when it comes to boxing, but you also represent a lot of your Ghanaian identity in your kit, for example, and the symbols that you bring out with you. How important is that identity to you?
I think we've all got reasons why we fight, or the boxers when we're in the ring, and you want to draw inspiration from different things, like what's going to inspire you, what's going to motivate you. For me, there's a kente print on most of my shorts, which again is a cultural cloth linked with royalty, and there are 4 symbols that I put on it. One of them is called Jiname, which just means accept God. So we're acknowledging God for the things that happen. That's like a national symbol. The other one just talks about the grace of God, saying that God's being merciful to us for these things to happen. The third one is the war horn, which we believe back in the days they would blow to say the war is on, it's time to fight. I have that mentality when I'm going to fight. And the fourth one is the war swords. There's a whole range of symbols in Ghana, but these are the four that are the most meaningful to me. It changes, but these are the top four.
You've come off a flight this morning from Ghana. So can you tell me about your trip to Ghana?
Very interesting one, you know. I tell you why, because I'm always in Ghana. I'm always around the people. Proudly represent it. I know the language. I go there all the time. But what I did this time was I went to two places, two castles in Ghana.
Okay.
Probably the most important places, I believe, in the country. The Elmina Castle and the Cape Coast Castle, which is where the slave trade happened. I'm disappointed in myself that it took me this long to actually go and check it out, getting a little glimpse of the suffering and the hard times that, you know, my ancestors and people went through. It was touching, yeah.
For people that have never been to Ghana or don't know anything about Ghana, what do you think is the most important thing to kind of express or get across, what you're most proud of in terms of being a Ghanaian person?
I think we're friendly, very friendly people, welcoming people. They welcome you with open arms. They take you under their wings and make sure you're comfortable, and we're just nice people, I'd say.
It's interesting that you say that because I can't remember the exact quote, but somebody described you as being like the nicest guy, but the biggest danger, or like the most dangerous guy as well. What do you make of that? Do you think that's a fair reflection of who you are?
They speak about me outside the ring in terms of he's a nice guy, he's polite, and I think most of us are like that. It's just when I get in the ring, it's no time to be nice. My coach always says to me, nice guys finish last. And I'm laughing out because every time in the gym, he always says it to me. Josh, you're a nice guy, but in that ring, you're horrible. So be nice outside the ring, but in the ring, there's no space for it.
So I know education was really, really important to you, especially finishing your degree, and you studied management and sports science.
Yeah.
You did that alongside your boxing, and I wanted to know how useful that was for you in terms of your career.
In terms of my career, I would say with understanding things, it's helped a lot. Reading contracts, yes, I have a lawyer that's gonna break it down for me, but again, just processing it, doing research, being told something and finding out actually, is it true, or are you making up, or are you twisting it? Stuff like that, you know, just helped me a lot. But for me, uni was really to prove my parents that, you know what, I can do well in boxing and education, of course, to show also other people that boxers are not dumb, and to let these boxers know as well that being educated is important, because when you get to the professional stage now, man, that's when it's a real business, and that's when you have to be smart.
And you said that the reason you were out of the ring for a year was because you switched promoters, and promoters have a lot of control when it comes to who people fight, where they fight, when they fight. I wanted to know what you think of that system and if you think it works.
So the way the system works, you know, with the promoters being not in control, but well, they kind of are in control in the sense that they pay the fighters. You know, they promote a fight. They draw the interest that we need from the public to say, oh, I'd like to watch this fight. You know, they work with the big TV channels that most homes in England have. For how it's working now, it's a system that I think the fighters need to make sure that when it's all said and done, we come out on the good end of it.
But do you not think that sometimes fans want to see somebody fight somebody specifically and it doesn't happen because the promoters decide that that's not going to happen? Do you know what I mean?
That's with the promoters, but also with the broadcasters as well, because, I don't know, this person wants it on their channel, but the other person's saying, no, we went on our channel, so they clash and eventually there's no agreement, so there's actually no fight, so the fans end up losing.
And so another big part, as you've said, promoters need to promote a fight, and a big part of promoting a fight is having fighters that are showmen and that drawing crowds. Have you ever felt a bit of pressure to kind of up the ante in terms of like bravado or who you are on social media and things?
I've thought about it, but not too much, because I always said that this sport wouldn't change me in that way to be flipping the tables about and doing certain things. That's just not me, but I'm content with it. Those that are very colourful outside the ring, sometimes they're not really good fighters, but they will get the attention. But that's because people like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. So the pressure is there, but for me, I've got other pressures, and that's not one of them. That doesn't cross my mind. I'm very comfortable how I am.
What does cross your mind? What are the pressures that you're referring to?
Okay, so you did well in your career. What did you do with it? Were you the only beneficiary of it? Am I just going to say to you, oh, I've got 10 cars in my house? That's not success. That's nothing to talk about. Because I do think at the end of it all, I will be asked, like, what did I do with what I had? But to talk about being a certain way on social media, that doesn't cross my mind. It's irrelevant to me.
When we're talking about pressures in boxing, it has been seen as one of the dirtiest sports when it comes to performance-enhancing drugs. Fighters have been caught using performance-enhancing drugs. Have you ever felt any pressure to do so or been offered to do so?
Not at all. I don't entertain it at all because I think cheating in sports is one thing, but in boxing or in combat sports, I think it's a bit more because if you're cheating to be the fastest sprinter, it's still very wrong, but you're running to the end of a line. You're not hitting anyone. You're not inflicting pain on anyone. But when the bell rings, I'm coming for you. So if I'm cheating to do that, I think it's a bit deeper than that.
Boxing is a demanding sport. It takes a lot of time when you're doing training camps. Does that make it hard for you to give time to your loved ones?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that they're the biggest sacrifices, you know, like my sister's getting married in a couple of months' time. And she said to me, Josh, I don't care what you're doing, make sure you're there. And it's sad to think, do you know what? I already know, I don't think I'm going to be there, but we'll see. When I'm in camp, I see some of my boys FaceTiming their children where you could tell they want to be around their kids, but they understand that doing what we do, being away, will help us get the finances that we need to provide for our loved ones. So it is hard. And again, these are things that the fans don't necessarily understand. The fans are not going to say, oh, do you know what? Well, actually, sister was getting married, so he missed a few sessions. They don't care about that. So I have that mentality that when I'm preparing for a fight, nothing else matters. Hence why I come to the press conference with an afro, my beard is rough because I'm not cutting my hair. There's nowhere to go other than home and the gym. There's nothing else that's going to derail me from that program because when I get in that ring, I know there's no excuses.
And where do you think that comes from for you specifically? Because you do have a very kind of laser focus on what you do.
Yeah.
You've been like that forever. Where do you think you learned that from?
I think it came from my first trainer, Terry Smith. He was very militant with us in the gym. So I assumed this is what every boxing gym was. I thought all athletes are like this. Every coach is like this. Then, of course, when I went to different gyms, I was like, nah, not everyone is as disciplined as this. So he taught me that from 15. I was at that gym till late in my 20s, so it stuck with me. So the more I'm in the sport, I'm just understanding that's just the way it has to be. For me, some fighters are a lot more chilled and they still win. You have to find what's going to work for you.
And I wanted to ask you another further question about the risks that you run by getting in the ring. There have been arguments that it's so dangerous because of the brain damage it can cause if you get hit in the head, and people have even said that it should be banned. How do you feel about that?
I mean, in the ring, that's never crossed my mind. Sitting here now, I'm like, yeah, damn, boxing's, why would you do that? It's dangerous, But I think of the other things that come with it, the discipline, and I'll say this again, I've almost said it, that when I joined the Olympic team, the first thing they said is boxing changes lives. And I always thought, how is my head getting hit going to change? How does that make sense? But it changes your lives. It brings you before people that are influential. It gives you opportunities that, you know, you're recognized for what you do and people want to be with you, work with you, help you and stuff like that. So, yeah, everything I think is dangerous. But I think the conclusion here is just ask God to protect you and always be thankful that you come out safely because it's only one punch. We're only 1 second away from disaster. So you just have to thank God for it.
So I know you're still young in your career, but when do you think a boxer should stop if we're thinking about things like risks and the issues that fighters face?
This question is a good one, but again, it depends on the individual. How many hard fights has that person been in? You can have 10 fights and there'll be 10 hard fights. It's gonna take its toll on your body. You can also have 10 fights, 10 easy fights, meaning you can go on. So It's very hard to say. For myself, I'm 30. I haven't been in any very, very, very hard fights. So there's no wear and tear on my body. So I've still got some years to go. Whereas another 30-year-old might say, "Do you know what? I had a lot of wars when I was 26. So now that they're 30, they're looking to pack it in."
Is there anything that can be done to make the sport safer?
Yeah, and I think we're doing it. Like when I go to Ghana, for example, I try to tell them more about the safetyness of the sport. You know, I understand that they've got the vim and the energy and the passion and they want to work hard and fight hard. But I say to them, where's your gum shield? Where's your head guard? We're training, you know, wear a gum shield, wear a head guard. If you're sparring each other, wear bigger gloves. Don't wear tiny gloves and kill each other. And of course, have a doctor on site every time when you're training. So, yeah, just being safe when you can be safe, because we're aware that it's a dangerous sport.
Last year, you launched the Joshua Buatsi Foundation. Can you tell me a bit more about the foundation and what it is you aim to do with it?
The aim is to raise awareness about just the safetyness of boxing. There's two areas I work on, the orphans and the boxers. Boxing is what I do. So where I want to get it to is so that the culture changes in terms of the safetyness of it. Also, education. You know, in that part of Ghana, they're very, very street smart, but education is something that is not prioritized. So I say, look, the boxing is great, the sports is great, but let's bring in education. And in the other aspect of dealing with the orphans, the work there is just to provide things that a parent would provide. You know, have the feeling that there's going to be food to eat, there's going to be clothes to wear, somewhere to sleep, and where education is brought in as well. Just so when you leave, you're leaving with something. You're not leaving empty-handed, but empty-headed, most importantly, yeah.
In the UK, you've been an ambassador for the Power Day Foundation, which offers facilities to underprivileged youth. And specifically, it's dealing with young people who have had issues to do with youth violence or knife crime. Are those things that you have witnessed growing up in Croydon yourself?
Yeah, I mean, in Croydon, there's the good bits, the bad bit. But just growing up in primary, high school, college, university, these things are around. And when people see me now, and I say, you know what, prior to all of this, you know, I grew up in Croydon, I've been around it. They're like, nah, I can't imagine it, Josh. And I'm like, don't be fooled, because I'm polished now and I can speak a bit better and I can understand things and process things, and I'm a bit more mature now. But ask people that knew me when I was younger, like, we're from Croydon, it's around us, you know, our friends, someone would say that's a gang, they're just your friends because you all grew up together. It's just that there's a lot of you. And sometimes, yes, we drift off, we do things that we're not meant to do. At that age, you have no responsibilities, you have a lot of time at hand. So for me, boxing took away that spare time, because that spare time was the times where if I were gonna get in trouble, it would be because of that spare time. But now, I have to be in the gym. My summer holidays, people are coming back with stories. All I can say is I was in the gym, I was in Yorkshire in the national championships, boxing, fighting, winning. It took away the spare time that I had. It gave me the discipline that I needed, the structure that I needed. It taught me to listen to instructions from my coach. If you listen, you're going to be a champion. If you listen and do what I'm saying, like, it tested me.
I really want to ask you directly about your faith, because you reference it so frequently. Can you elaborate a bit more about what your relationship with your faith is like and how that informs the work you do both in the ring and outside?
With faith and boxing, people do different things to get in a mindset to fight. For me, I believe in the talent I've been given and I have to use it. So my faith gives me the confidence also to get in that ring to fight. And when I talk about my faith outside boxing, I believe I have to help people, and I can't be the only person benefiting from all the good that happens to me.
I did want to ask you about Liam Conroy. You fought against him 2019. You defeated him.
Yeah.
And then I read a story that when he was struggling and he needed to get some funding to be able to return to the ring and box again, that you helped him out. Is that true?
Yeah. We fought for the British title. It was March, I think, 2019. So a few weeks after that, he needed to get his medical done. And he put it out on social media, and I was like, oh, we fought the other day. Like, I'll help you do it. He's like, you sure? I said, 100%, I'll help you do it. But I need one thing from you. He said, what is that? I said, don't tell anyone. do it and just get on with life. In my head, I was like, oh, he's got a son, a very young, so a newborn. If I pay for this, he can fight again, he will get paid, he can put food on the table for his family, period. There was nothing to think about at all.
As a Christian, what do you think the most important things are then to be judged on? Is it, like you say, helping people, but like they're quite vague. Like when you think about it, how do you measure that yourself?
Things are very natural, you know. I don't go out and think I'm only going to help someone that boxes. I might bump into someone that does ballet or something on my journey to the gym. And if I can help them, I'm going to help them. So it's not planned or scheduled or anything, no. I'm just trying to add more structure to some of the things that I do so that it can be regular and frequent and everything, yeah.
While religion isn't very popular in many public spaces, in boxing it is something that is referred to by quite a few boxers. You've got Muhammad Ali, you have got Tyson Fury, you have yourself. Yeah. There are many others as well. Why do you think that link is so strong?
People work on a 9 to 5 every day, and they do it for so many years. But for us, there's an event where we're going to be judged on whether you're fighting 3 times a year. That means 3 times that year, I need the whole world to stop and God to really be on my side. So we're aware that something's coming up. So it's like we draw closer to God, closer to a fight. I know that, okay, I'm boxing in May. So I know closer to it, I'm going to be very close to God because I'm dependent on him to give me this win. I'm doing the hard work physically, but we all work hard. So I think victory comes from above. You have to be favoured, man. But yeah, I think for us, we have a time where we know we need God more than ever, so we're going to voice it.
In 2020, after the death of George Floyd, you took the knee. And I wanted to ask you if you feel like it made any impact and if it still feels like something important for you to reference when you're going...
No impact, zero impact. Zero impact, man. No impact at all, unfortunately.
Did you feel like it would when you did it?
I mean, I felt like I was going to do it anyways, paying respect and bringing attention to an incident like that. But did it make an impact? No, it didn't. It's sad, man, but would it change? Would it ever change? I would say no, but hey, if you're nice, yeah.
You have been to the States.
Yeah.
You live in the UK. You're from Ghana originally. Yeah. I want to know how your experience is between the United States and the UK in terms of being a black man. Do you feel like the racism experienced in one is different to the other?
How I live in the States is different to how I live in England. When I look at some of the stuff that you see happening in America online, when I'm in the States, I'm like, okay, I've got to be a bit more careful. I don't want to end up in a situation and become a video of some incident that happened on the internet. Nah. I mean, I don't live a normal life out there because I'm solely there to train. But even the days that I'm not training, yeah, I'm a bit more careful because I'm not familiar, again, with the area, with the police, the laws and all of that stuff. So I'm like, keep it simple, what I'm doing, and just chill.
And do you think that sports personalities should speak about things like racism? How do you feel about that as a debate?
I think to an extent, yes, because we have got the platform to do it. What title do you need to talk about something like that? You don't need a title. So if you're experiencing it, if you know about it, you can talk about it, you know, and when there's a chance to talk about it, you should.
You have got your faith, you have got your family, you've got your background, you have a house. You've won 17 fights, you've been undefeated, right?
Do you know what I don't have?
What do you not have?
A perfect life.
A perfect life?
Yeah, because you're just saying all the good things.
Do you know what I was going to say to you? I want to know what your priorities are now.
There's way more, and there's doing things at a bigger scale. There's bigger fights to get into. There's more people to help. There's events that I don't want to miss anymore, but there's bigger sacrifices to do. So I'm nowhere near content with what's happened or reached a place where I can settle. Yeah, nowhere near.
It's been a pleasure speaking to you and talking about things that are a bit different. It is refreshing, so thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. No, it was good. You asked some good questions, some tricky questions, but it was all good, man.